there's some small plants underneath there.
We don't normally do that because that just takes so much time.
My name is Dr. Linda Walters. I am a Pegasus professor of biology at the University of Central Florida. By the time I was an undergraduate, I fell in love with the ocean and I moved on to a PhD. My first and only job interview was at the University of Central Florida, and I have been here ever since then.
My name's Catherine. I'm a PhD student here in the Coastal and Estuarine Ecology Lab. I moved to Florida when I was in second grade, went to the beach for the first time, saw a dolphin for the first time, and basically was in love with it at that point. I would definitely say my experience with it now is very different.
So right now I'm filtering the feces and pseudo-feces from the oysters. I'm going to just be pouring it over the filter.
I'm looking at filter paper that has been set out for atmospheric decomposition, and I'm looking for microplastics. So some of them are fibers, there's films and fragments.
CEELAB is Coastal and Estuarine Ecology Lab. We are at the forefront of finding non-plastic ways to stabilize shorelines and restore oyster reefs.
And then basically monitoring and research how we can better restore these habitat types.
No students would be in my lab if they were not willing to engage with the community.
One of our main things is outreach and education.
We have created 11 children's books, and they have been for different ages, whether you are a 2-year-old or some of them go up to middle school, high school.
Sitting in the mud, clusters of oysters grow side by side. In the shadows of their shells, small animals hide. Predators with hungry eyes come and go with every changing tide.
We have all sorts of microplastics research and how that's affecting oysters.
We have documented how much plastic there is in the Indian River Lagoon, that there's 1.6 pieces of plastic per liter of water. Where is it coming from? We can't do anything about it till we understand where it's coming from.
When thrown away, plastic often ends up in nature. Microplastics come from big pieces of plastic like this plastic bag, breaking down into many smaller pieces. Animals may eat small plastic items, mistaking them for food. This is very bad.
Oysters are the most important organism on the planet.
They're filter feeders, which means they're taking in water all around them and all the stuff that's in that water as well. A single oyster is filtering about 20 gallons of water a day.
So without oysters, we would have no water clarity anywhere.
The lab was looking at what was causing the oyster reef loss in the lagoon. Basically what that study found was that it was boat waves.
We'd lost about 24% of oyster acreage between 1943 and 1990, and now we are at 63% loss since the 1940s.
So these boats are coming in, they're making bigger than normal waves.
The oysters that are buried in the sediment are no longer buried in the sediment, and they too start washing away. So that's actually starting to get alarming.
This one here.
Mangroves are another species that you just have to love.
What mangroves provide is their ability to sequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. That can help with basically mitigating, that greenhouse gases and the warming of the climate. They help to prevent storm surge from getting to people's homes, as well as prevent flooding from getting too far inland.
People are cutting down the mangroves because they want to build something there because it's so pretty. By the time you've finished building your house and you've gotten rid of the mangroves, it's not going to be as pretty anymore.
7, 8.
Most of my research revolves around looking at how mangroves and oyster reefs are overlapping as a result of warming winter temperatures.
We don't have those cold temperatures anymore. So mangroves are not perishing each year. So underneath where the layer of oysters are, it's making it more acidic, which is good for being a mangrove. It's bad for being an oyster.
I know it can be really daunting, climate change and all these scary environmental things that are happening. And it makes a lot of people just feel bummed out at the very least. But I don't think it has to be that way. There's a lot of optimism that goes into engaging in research, the outreach, and there's a lot of things that we can be really excited about.
There's lots of fish schooling beneath the waves, in the place where the sea meets the land. The fish dart around to avoid the hungry, waiting birds, so still do they stand. There's lots of fish schooling in the seagrass. near the oysters in the mud, by the marsh grass in front of the mangroves, growing in the place where the sea meets the land.
The shoreline stabilization projects, we are basically going out to highly eroded shorelines to plant natural living materials.
So we have people who help prep materials for making oyster restoration rings.
They're basically this material that uses jute. We coat the jute with cement and form these little donut-shaped rings. These can basically create a stable base and structure, allow those oyster reefs to reestablish.
We do a lot of coastal restoration, and for that we need mangroves. We came up with the idea that we would have teachers help with this.
And they come out to the lagoon, they collect mangrove propagules or mangrove seeds, and then they basically grow their mangroves with their students throughout the year.
Then we take them back, we take care of them until we are ready to deploy them. We've restored 106 reefs over the last 18 years, probably about 4 to 4.5 acres. We're quite proud of that. It's community-based, which means a lot of people help with the process. And I'm very proud to boast that we've had over 70,000 volunteers who directly help our project. That's a lot of impact.
Even just coming and volunteering your time for a couple hours, I mean, that has a really big impact for the work that we do. One of the number one things is just kind of celebrating the success stories that are out there. And so I think just by caring about something, you're already on a better track to improving it.
That is one of the main reasons my students have to be engaged in the community. That's where the impact comes in, changing behaviors, changing lives for the better.